Alright guys, hope you're doing really well. Happy Friday. Today we're going to be talking about the differences between the US Constitution and the Florida Constitution. I would have that worksheet handy with you so that way you can just fill it out as we're going along. And I gotta say guys, at least it's Friday. Let me just give you a little bit of a reminder that what doesn't kill you makes you absolutely stronger. And I know this whole coronavirus and the whole quarantine might be bumming some of you guys out, or actually some of you guys might be even enjoying it. But remember, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And to finish this year strong, guys, this is your last moments in your secondary education. Finish it with a bang, or literally start working out with the mousetrap like this mouse. Anywho, so a little bit about the U.S. Constitution as a review. Once the U.S. Constitution was written, it was sent to the 13 states for their approval, going all the way back in Articles of Confederation time periods of 1780s. It was determined then that the Constitution would become the law of the land, and once they got 9 of 13 states to ratify, that meant it became our supreme law of the land. And each state then held a constitutional convention to discuss to approve that new government. They had a huge debate about a need for a Bill of Rights, and then once the Bill of Rights was added, you get the idea. This is just a little bit of a history summary of stuff we talked about in third quarter. However, just because a U.S. Constitution was created didn't mean that states didn't have their say. Although the U.S. Constitution outlined pretty broad powers that the national government has, the states were also given powers of their own to enforce their own laws and how they want to interact with other states. They had rights that were given in the U.S. Constitution that could not be taken away by a state constitution, but states could go and expand on those rights if they wanted to and guarantee more rights or offer greater protection of natural rights for their individual citizens. And every state in the Union has their own version of the Constitution, as well as some cities even do. Every state constitution is different, but there's the commonality that we all have our own constitutions. They're very similar to the U.S. Constitution. First part of this presentation is going to identify just how common these things are. I'm literally going to go through articles and preambles and all that different stuff and literally show you the U.S. Constitution versus the Florida one. Feel free to pause it if you want to and read, but without further ado, let's get going. So you have the preamble, which is simply just the beginning of a legal document. I underlined all the similarities, like the exact same words, between the U.S. Constitution and the Florida Constitution throughout all this. I hope you guys enjoy as you learn more about your state's constitution. So the U.S. Constitution starts off like this. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, that means children, offsprings, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. Now, Florida's preamble is very simple, or very similar. We, the people of the state of Florida, being grateful to Almighty God for our constitutional liberty, in order to secure its benefits, perfect our government, ensure domestic tranquility, maintain public order, and guarantee equal civil and political rights to all, do ordain and establish this Constitution. I kind of like how the Florida Constitution literally starts literally in the first few phrases where it's like it says being grateful to Almighty God. Don't think that the people who started these states in our country aren't religious people and didn't have great faiths, because that's nothing far from the truth. But anywho, let's compare their legislative branches. So, in the U.S. Constitution, it states in Article 1, all legislative power herein granted shall be vested in the Congress of the United States, which shall consist of a Senate and House of Representatives. Very similarly, the Florida Constitution states that the legislative power of the state shall be vested in a legislature of the state of Florida, consisting of a Senate and a House of Representatives. We basically copied and pasted Article 1 into our own Constitution, just changed it up a little bit for our usage. Now, who is in charge of the executive branch? Well, according to the U.S. Constitution, the executive power shall be vested in a President of the United States of America. And very similarly, the Florida Constitution states that Florida's executive branch, the supreme executive power, shall be vested in a governor. Now, what does the judicial branch look like? The judicial power of the United States shall be vested in one Supreme Court, and in such inferior courts as the Congress may from time to time It means add more courts as need be. The Florida Constitution, the judicial power shall be vested in a Supreme Court, a District Court of Appeals, circuit courts, and county courts, going all the way to like Palm Beach County Courthouse. Anywho, how long do senators serve? Well, the U.S. Constitution says that senators in D.C., the two senators like Marco Rubio and Rick Scott who are in D.C., the Senate of the United States shall be composed of 2 senators from each state, chosen for 6 years. Now, Florida, for state senators, not the same thing, they meet in Tallahassee. State senators shall be elected for terms of 4 years, so we thought 6 was too long. How long do representatives serve? Basically identical. The House of Representatives shall be composed of members chosen every 2nd year. In the Florida Constitution, members of the House of Representatives shall be elected for terms of 2 years. Basically the same, just different people. Who raises the taxes? Well, for federal taxes, all bills for raising revenue shall originate in the House of Representatives. Florida does it a little bit different. For taxes involving Florida, like income tax or sales tax, any bill may originate in either house. So the Florida State Senate can start it, or the Florida State Representatives can start it. Now, how does a bill become a law? Well, according to the U.S. Constitution for the national level, every bill which shall have passed the House of Representatives and the Senate shall, before it become a law, be presented to the President of the United States. If he approve, he shall sign it, but if not, he shall return it. If any bill shall not be returned within 10 days, the same shall be a law. Meaning if the president leaves it on his desk for 10 days, it automatically becomes law. The Florida, for passing Florida laws, every bill passed by the legislature shall be presented to the governor for approval and shall become a law if the governor approves and signs it or fails to veto it within 7 consecutive days after presentation. So the governor has a week when the president has 10 days. Where is it located? And this is the last comparison I'll do. I mean, obviously you can keep going, but we're just kind of doing basics for our needs. The U.S. Constitution states that our government, for the national level, such district not exceeding 10 miles square, as may, by cession of particular states, become the seat of government of the United States, now the District of Columbia. For Florida, it states in our Florida Constitution that the seat of government shall be the city of Tallahassee in Leon County. That's why Tallahassee is our state capital, because our state constitution says Tallahassee is where the government shall be. Now, that's all fun and stuff, but let's talk about how do you amend these constitutions. So, if you don't remember, one of the greatest things about our U.S. Constitution is, as time goes on, it has the ability to change through amendments, 27 amendments since the original ratification. The Founding Fathers realized the Constitution would need to be updated over time. Only 2 steps are necessary to amend the Constitution on the national level. You need to propose and you need to ratify. Changing the U.S. Constitution, though, is no small task despite 2 simple steps. Hundreds of amendments are proposed each year. Only 33 in our nation's history have gotten enough votes to actually be proposed, and only 27 actually ratified, which is why you learned 27 amendments back in 3rd quarter. So, to put it simply, if you want to get something passed on the U.S. Constitution, here's your formal methods to do that. Get 2/3 votes from both houses in Congress, or get 2/3 votes on state governments on board, and then you go, depending on which path you go for the proposal, will depend on what's needed for ratification. I made this little chart right here, so you can see, like, if the proposal was because Congress proposed it with 2/3 votes, then the ratification would either be from ratified by the legislatures of at least 3/4 of the states, and for every single amendment except for one of them, that is how that has happened. And then you can kind of see if amendments proposed by a national constitutional convention by the legislatures of at least 2/3 of the states, meaning the state governments decided to propose one, that's only gone through once. So you kind of get the idea. So basically 2 methods to get proposed an amendment for the U.S. Constitution as well as ratify it. For Florida, we decide 2 is too little of a number. Instead of 2, we have 5. Now, I'm not going to bore you with all these different details, but I know your worksheet has a section where you need this. So here are the literal 5 methods in order to do it for the Florida Constitution. I'll just let you pause it at this point for you to write it down. Okay, what are those and how do they work? So basically they all work very similarly, albeit if you look at them are different in how you start them. Um, and long story short, a registered committee collects about 680,000 signatures. It's 680,000 signatures right now because of our state's population currently. And certain percentages have to come from each congressional district, meaning if there's 27 congressional districts in Florida, you can't just get 680,000 signatures in Miami, which you find plenty of people in Miami to sign it at that point. You got to get the other congressional districts involved, and it has to be done by a percentage based. What does that mean in English? Okay, let me give you a hypothetical situation of how something could get passed in the Florida uh, Constitution. Let's say you want to amend the Florida Constitution. Imagine the situation we're in, COVID-19. What if you wanted to change up the Florida Constitution and just be like, there should be something in the Florida Constitution that says if there is a pandemic that impacts a lot of the world, just skip the rest of the school year. I know many of you are probably like, oh yes. Some of you are probably like, what would be the point? It's literally my last couple months of school anyways. I know for me, I'd personally be sad Mr. Shoens. I'm literally Kermit the Frog right there. It'd be me and then maybe someone like, I don't know. Let's throw Wade under the bus. Yeah, that's definitely Wade. Anywho, so what would you do if you wanted to pass that amendment? You would go around the 27 congressional districts and collect signatures from each and every single one. You get 680,000 of them, there's a good chance some change could really happen. But it doesn't mean those 680,000 signatures get the amendment passed. All that does is put it on the ballot. And then in your next election day, and this is the biggest thing with Florida amendments, you guys decide if that amendment will pass. So if we started an amendment right now and we got the 680,000 signatures, we would be able to put it on the ballot at least, but we wouldn't vote for it until November 3rd, 2020. And at that point, you must get 60% of the vote in order to pass that amendment. And if it's involving taxes, well, according to the Florida Constitution, you need at least 2/3 vote. Now, why does the Kermit the Frog look so happy right there? Because obviously, if you wanted to pass an amendment like that, you wouldn't be able to until it is November, meaning that I get to spend more time with you guys, which is actually awesome in my eyes. Although some of you might not be so happy. Maybe you literally look like Kermit the Frog that me and Wade looked like at the beginning. Anywho, that's your comparisons with the Florida Constitution and the U.S. Constitution. Make sure you do that worksheet, guys. And remember, in this mouse's wisdom and bravery, and I'm pretty sure if this actually happened, the mouse would die very shortly afterwards. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. You guys got this. Enjoy your weekend, guys. Make sure you get that worksheet done and turn it in.